you want to make sure you don't miss out. So, and it goes to a great cause, so make sure to buy your tickets early. So let's talk about the matches. There's so many great matches just on this card. Archadia versus Homicide.
Let's go. I'm excited.
Oh, I know. I read that. I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah, if you can believe it, these are like two Jersey All-Pro legends, and they've never wrestled one-on-one.
Wow,
ever.
Really?
That's unbelievable. In the 15 years or so that both men have been active competitors, they've never wrestled in a singles match. And I was talking to Archadia about this, because he's been really integral in helping me out with this show, and all praise is due to Archadia for that, for doing a lot to help out. Brandon Kirk also, I will say so. Brandon Kirk has been indispensable to me. I love both those guys a ton for all the help that they've been giving me. But in talking to Archadia, I said, listen, I would love, I would love, obviously, to feature you in some way. And he just mentioned to me a couple of guys that he would love to wrestle, and I said, well, you've probably worked Homicide a million times. He goes, you know what, not once. And I said, you're kidding me.
Right. Yeah.
That's impossible. That is impossible. So it was a no-brainer. Homicide is a certifiable legend, former Ring of Honor World Champion, FIP World Champion, Impact Wrestling X Division Champion. The man has done it all. Jersey All-Pro. He's been everywhere and done everything. Is one of the most thorough dudes in the business. And the respect I have for him is great. And the respect Archadia has for him is great. But by the same token, I feel as though Archadia is the most criminally underrated wrestler of his generation. I feel as though he is, if you were going to build a light heavyweight from the ground up, I would build a guy that looked pretty damn close to what he looks like and what he can do. And I am just going to sit back and cross my leg and ring the bell and let these two guys put on a show. And I'm thrilled for it. I am so thrilled to have this match and to be able to be the first guy ever to do something. You know how rare that is?
Yeah.
I mean, wrestling is a thing where if you're good, you inevitably go up against everybody who's as good as you.
Right.
And to see two guys who have been certifiably great for this long, who have never wrestled one another, was something I felt like I had to do.
Yeah, I'm completely surprised. To know that they haven't wrestled each other, considering, and like I said, I can't disagree with what you're saying. I mean, Homicide is just amazing. He really, like you said, legend, basically.
Complete. I don't think that's an overstatement.
No.
Legend is a completely reasonable word to describe Homicide.
Absolutely.
100% of the time.
And I can't disagree about Archadia. Every time I see him wrestle, it's always really excellent. He's so talented. And I think to myself, why is he not everywhere?
Everywhere.
Really,
right?
He deserves to be everywhere. He's that good.
Yeah.
He's that good. So that's gonna be one that's worth it alone, really. I mean, seriously. I mean, honestly, that kind of just sells the show right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, the other half of the main event, if you want to talk about another match that can sell a show by itself, and another match with two guys who are everywhere and deserve to be. I mean, that match, for different reasons, is just as exciting to me, and I'm thrilled that I'm doing it.
It's just insane. So it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about Chris Dickinson and Matt Tremont.
That's what I was just saying.
I knew you were going there.
it's been a little while since these two have hooked it up in this area, and in that time, they've both gone from guys who are really on the come up to being two of the best independent wrestlers on the planet.
Absolutely.
And we are just, like, people say that, and you think it's hyperbole or it's overstated. I'm lucky to live in the tri-state area. I mean, you can go anywhere and see greatness,
right?
But there's so much of it here that we're spoiled. Yeah. And Dickinson Tremont is one of those, again, where I am just going to ring the bell, sit back, and just love my life.
Yeah,
That's pretty much all it is. I mean, you've got the de facto leader Team Pazuzu, the man who has revolutionized in many ways what stable wrestling is in 2015, 2016. The man who was run roughshod from Toronto to Florida and back in Dickinson. And then you have Tremont, who is working on, I believe he's already he's working on a top 5 longest CCW World Championship run ever.
Right.
And, I mean, you look at the lineage of that championship, and that tells you something about what they think of Matt Tremont. His resume speaks for itself. Yeah. His resume outside of deathmatch wrestling speaks for itself. Absolutely. Do yourself a favor and look at what he does outside of the deathmatch and understand that he can go without the gimmicks.
Right, absolutely.
And between Archadia Homicide and Tremont Dickinson, I feel like you've just got a double main that stacks up with any other indie card that you could put together. I'm over the moon about those 2 matches.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, going back to Dickinson and Tremont, Chris Dickinson is just fierce. Like, he just is a beast. Like, he's not to disrespect Kyle the Beast, but he's also a beast, and in his own way.
Oh, yeah.
And Tremont, really good point about Matt. He does the deathmatch thing, but he has a solid wrestling background. He understands, wrestling. It's not just, I'm going to hit this guy upside the head with a board, and that's all I can do. He can do a whole lot. He understands how to put a match together, and he knows how to do that. He's very smart, and just talking with him. So the 2 of them just, and he's a bruiser too. So the 2 of them together is just going to be just hard hitting. It's going to be just such a great matchup. It's just amazing.
I'm hoping that by the end of the match, a majority of the building has not been torn down. So we shall see how that goes. But Archadia Homicide, Tremont Dickinson, as far as the twin bill main event, I could not ask for more. Really couldn't.
Just amazing. Another match that is just super, super cool, and it made me laugh, and it was awesome when I saw it, was the 2016 Dick Justice Battle for Justice. Which I think is great.
You can go ahead and call it the DJ BJ if you want.
DJ. I feel like it's a little like inappropriate. I feel a little dirty after saying that.
What are you doing that? Just don't feel dirty. Just say it's the Dick Justice. And call it the Dick Justice BJ then. That's fine. Just call it the Dick Justice PJ. Everything's comfortable.
I'm definitely going to have to clip that explicit.
Let the DJ BJ. It rolls right off your tongue, just like DJ BJ. DJ PJ. Nice.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to put the explicit on this show just for.
No, come on now. It stands for Battle for Justice.
It does. It is the Battle for Justice, and
go home and talk to your man friend and tell him that later on you want to have a little Battle for Justice time. That's fine.
That's the best euphemism I've ever heard.
Just have a little private DJ PJ time. It'll be fine.
That's wonderful.
But how you feel right now is exactly how people are going to feel during this match. It is 5 of the most exciting and hilarious people I've ever met in my life. Dick Justice versus Too Hot Steve Scott, Selfie Superstar, versus the Concrete Rose, Sonny Kiss, versus Billy Avery, who, if you've been to Dojo Wars, you know, versus the Sugar Rush Kid, Kid Christian, who, if you haven't seen him before, you will have some fun. The kid can fly, and he can go, and he's not just a one-trick pony. He is part of this new generation on the come-up of pro wrestling that I want to make sure that gets featured. There are a lot of guys in that generation, be it your Vinny Pacificos, your Kurt Robinsons, your Kid Christians, that really just deserve a little bit of limelight. And basically, this is 5 guys, and I'm not making this up, 5 guys fighting for a 5-foot-tall, glossy American trophy.
Nice.
5 feet tall. Street value somewhere between $100 and $5.2 million. I don't have the exact figure. But, yeah, the winner will, I'm not joking, this is not just for fun, the winner will legitimately win and take home the 5-foot DJ trophy. And we will have an opening ceremony.
Oh, nice.
And somebody might sing a national anthem. Nice. We may have cheerleaders. There may be there will be an opening ceremony presentation. I'm going to let Dick Justice run with it. This is his baby as much as ours. And the 2016 Dick Justice Battle for Justice is officially on.
That's awesome. I was looking at some things. I'm not as familiar with Kid Christian, so I am really excited to see him. But I know the other individuals in this, and I was just like, okay, this is going to be really amazing. Like, I couldn't. Steve Scott, I absolutely adore Steve Scott. I think it's great. It's amazing with him because that selfie gimmick, if someone else was doing it, would get really old, I think, really fast. But he keeps it fresh, and he's just a really good wrestler all around. Like, he's more than that gimmick, and so he makes it work. And it's just so entertaining to watch. I saw him wrestle Grant Akuma once with the phone in hand, and I thought, oh my God, you're nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's dangerous enough, which is, wow.
There's the thing about great. Steve, why I love Steve, is exactly what you just said. That selfie bit should have gotten stale in about 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And here we are, and he's finding ways to keep it fresh and keep it going, and he's still as entertaining as ever. And for anybody that says that you can't work a gimmick in 2016, shut up. Yes, you can.
Yeah, he's a prime example.
Yeah, another one you want to talk about. You want to talk about the Synergy Pro Wrestling Spotlight match. We'll talk about working a gimmick in 2016 and being an animal about it, just killing it. Kyle the Beast Azreal is another match that I've been, which to my knowledge has never happened again.
Really?
I don't think, and if it's happened, it's only happened once, maybe twice.
Okay. Wow, really?
So this is new stuff, and I wrote about this today on CharityWrestling.com if you want to look up a little bit about each of the 6 matches that I have officially announced, and I'll give you a teaser, Babs. I'll give you a teaser on the other 2 matches.
Ooh.
I'll give you a teaser. I've got 8 matches actually fully booked, so I'll give you a teaser on those. But for a long time now, Azreal has kind of been the measuring stick. Like, if you are going to be anything, if you are going to, he's one of those guys that you've had to go up against and show that you could really go. And that's not a knock against him. That is actually, as far as I'm concerned, an ultimate compliment.
Right.
Because if you can get in there with Azreal and you can hang, then you can go.
Right.
Then you're good at what you do. And he is one of those guys. I call him a barometer. He is a measuring stick for other guys. Kyle the Beast, meanwhile, is a guy that I've known personally for 6 years, and in 6 years I have watched him go from a guy with all the potential in the world to one of the very best. Period. I don't mean that with any quotation marks or asterisks or parentheses. I'm not saying he's one of the very best on the Indies or in New Jersey or at this or with the Timmick. He does things I've never seen another human being do before. At his size, in his frame, he gets it. He is as appealing to the quote-unquote smart adult fan as he is to the little 5-year-old kids who call themselves Little Beast fans. And it is a match I've wanted to see for a long time, Kyle and Azreal. And again, shout out, I got to give credit where credit is due. Archadia had a lot to do with making this match happen. Dan and Heather from Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore and from Synergy Pro had a ton to do with making this match happen. Excellent. So shout out to the sponsor for that match, Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore and Synergy Pro Wrestling, Dan and Heather, and by proxy Babs and this podcast network. This is a damn good match, and I think on the heels of what was another really good Synergy Pro Spotlight match at Hardcore Hustle a couple of weeks ago, I'm really impressed with what Synergy, even before they've run their first official show, I think they're really setting the framework for a real competitive independent promotion that comes in and wants to put on the best matches possible. I'm really impressed.
Absolutely. I mean, it really, truly is just a great matchup, great clash of styles. It's going to be really awesome to see. And you're right, 2 totally very talented guys. Azreal's been around forever and just totally, like you said, the barometer, and Kyle just wow. You know, you talk about potential, but he's really someone who's living it. You know what I mean? Really.